The reason he did not change for you is because he knew that he didn't have to in order to get everything he wanted from you. Because you were giving it to him regardless. All of those months that you continued to stay while he fucked up, while he didn't change, while he stayed the same, you were teaching him you would still be there. You would still stick around. When you are giving someone the benefits of a relationship, or you're giving someone all of your time and all of your energy, and they're your first priority, whether they're changing or whether they're still fucking up, most likely they're gonna stay where they're at. They're gonna stay the same because it's easier and they know you'll still be there.
Wow, that's fantastic work, man. You have the wisdom of a 6,000 or 7,000-year-old man. That's fantastic. We don't have to fill up the whole blackboard after all.
Sister, that man ain't changing. He doesn't have to. He's Chad, and in his eyes, the two of you aren't an item. Quite the opposite, in fact. You're a bed-warming, itch-scratching, low-effort piece of bedroom fun. Now you're at the tail end of a situationship. You want more from him, and he's wanting less. And if you think that the only way things are going to work is if he changes for you, but why in the hell should he? You said it yourself. He already has access to what little value you have, and let's be honest here. Even if this man suffers a massive closed head injury and decides that he does want to change for you, it'll never be enough. There's no possible way that man, or any man for that matter, will be able to change enough for you to feel like you're in a real relationship. There will always be something that needs to get better. And wouldn't you know it, all of the improvements need to be done on him and nothing on you. And that's because, as the modern woman, even when you get every single thing you could ever want out of a man, a career, and life itself, you are still a victim of this treacherous world. So if you want change, lady, stop acting like the world is out to get you, or go to the laundromat. Either way, you'll finally be doing something useful with your life.
Ooh, sick burn.
Just so you know, this is the real bare minimum. Flowers? Bare minimum. Checking up on you throughout the day? Bare minimum. Letting you know when they made it home from work? Bare minimum. Telling you goodnight every night? Bare minimum. Not going out to bars or clubs without you? Bare minimum. Letting you know when they made it to work? Bare minimum. Asking you how your day was? Bare minimum. Paying for the dinner? Bare minimum. Telling you that they love you? Bare minimum. Them making you feel like you're missed? Bare minimum. Showing you affection? Bare minimum.
Let's do this.
Well, here's a list of bare minimum things that we expect from our women. Being able to prepare a meal without ordering from DoorDash? Bare minimum. Being able to do laundry without complaining? Bare minimum. Treating your man like a grown-up and not like an overgrown child? Bare minimum. Not faking a headache to get out of doing some regular bedroom fun? Bare minimum. Trusting your man to lead, not questioning everything he does for the sake of questioning it? Bare minimum. Keeping yourself feminine and in shape? Bare minimum. Not weaponizing basic human affection? Bare minimum. Having the common decency to not endlessly complain about the toilet seat? Bare minimum. Not drowning in endless debt? Bare minimum. Showing that you actually give a damn about your man? Bare minimum. Not publicly shaming your man on TikTok for internet clout? Bare minimum. Not acting like an entitled moron? Bare minimum. Not disrespecting your man? Bare minimum. Not using every single excuse under the sun to justify your standards for the bare minimum? You guessed it, bare minimum.
Taking you on dates? Bare minimum. Not hanging out with anybody of the opposite sex? Bare minimum. Responding to your messages? Bare minimum. Sending you sweet messages? Bare minimum. Remembering your birthday or your anniversary? Bare minimum. Standing up for you to their friends or family? Bare minimum. Asking how your mental health is doing? Asking if you're okay? Bare minimum. Small gestures? Bare minimum. You shouldn't have to beg for any of that. And you do not need to be patting people on the back for doing those things. It's one thing to show appreciation, and it's one thing to coddle somebody. That should all come.
Let's play.
Letting a man have some quiet time with his video games? That's a bare minimum. Not complaining that you never go out on dates to needlessly expensive restaurants? Bare minimum. Not moving his stuff around to make things look tidy against his will? That's a bare minimum. Not chewing him out for the way he folds his own shirts? There's a bare minimum. Having a sense of humor? Bare minimum. Not judging us for going to Skeeter's house for steaks and kickball? There's a bare minimum. Not assuming that we're immature because we like to watch Looney Tunes on occasion? That's a bare minimum. Rubbing our backs while in the middle of a euchre gauntlet? You know that's a bare minimum. And not flying off the handle when we grab a stick and pretend it's either a lightsaber or a longsword? Yeah, that's a bare minimum as well. Showing support for a man as he tries to build a massive fort out of cups? That's a bare. Shutting up about the unnecessary judgment over the ever-evolving concept of the bare minimum and just living your life? Bare freaking minimum.
Oh, this is just so shocking. I mean, I must just be so monumentally naive.
You are.
And be honest with me. Is it really too much to ask for in 2024 for a guy who's mature, won't cheat, and won't play games? I'm really starting to lose hope.
That's why I praise the Lord for prostitutes.
Well, you're a little late to that particular party, sister. We not only lost hope about a decade before you did, but we've also long since abandoned it and allowed the demon thoughts of only freaks to go online and pretend to pander to simps as they give you money in exchange for a small amount of affection. Meanwhile, the rest of us have learned the virtue of self-respect and are out there enjoying life in movies like Death Machine, one of the best movies around. If I had to describe this cyberpunk-esque monster machine flick in 2 words, I would have to say it's gloriously 90s. Don't believe me? Just take a look at the bad guy of this movie. Nope, your eyes are not deceiving you, gentlemen and gents. That is indeed Brad Dourif giving his best 30-year-old 90s teenager, and it is spot on. And this practically makes the movie, in my opinion. But the animatronics in this flick are pretty awesome considering the budget, and it's got one of the best wound dressing moments ever to be committed to the history of cinema.
We're gonna need a bandage or something here. Hey! Soup! Ah! You're the man.
Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all Pearl Jam and Game Gear. This movie is also responsible for committing one of the biggest video game sins I've ever seen in a movie.
Hey! Shoryuken!
Everybody knows that if you have a massive gun, the only appropriate Street Fighter one-liner is Hadouken. But I am willing to forgive it because this movie is a slow burner that has some awesome effects. You can never go wrong with Brad Dourif, but that's just common sense.
I can officially confirm that all of the girls are right when they say that when a man really likes you and values you, he is going to do everything in his power to show it, and you're not going to have to ask him for anything. I don't think you all understand how quickly I have gone from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum in terms of how men treat me. I went from being in a situationship with a man that would maybe text me every couple of days, who was incapable of making plans with me ahead of time, who only asked to see me at night, who did not take me on one date in like 2.5 years, so embarrassing, to a man who refuses to let me open my own car door, a man who offers to cook for me every single day, a man who will take every opportunity that he can to touch me and be close to me, who tells me how he feels about me.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I've been working with a bunch of intergalactic space janitors to answer the age-old question as to why modern women refuse to open their own doors, and I think we boiled it down to 2 profoundly random yet equally plausible reasons. The first has to do with King Jimmy's imaginary Civil Door War of 1793. Now, we all know the story, it's been told to death, but if you don't know it, the condensed version is that King Jimmy was convinced doors were invented by witches, and women had to pay men to open the doors for them so they didn't get burned at the stake for heresy. A couple of decades later, cooler heads did prevail once King Jimmy realized how important doors were when someone tried to walk in on him while taking a dump. It's one of imaginary history's greatest blunders. The second reason is that modern women have yet to gain the physical or cognitive know-how needed to operate such a complex device. So they use their rampant entitlement to mask their incapability to be able to open a door, which is something that simps are more than happy to oblige. Which, if true, would just prove that modern women will do just about anything if it means they don't have to acknowledge the virtues of shame.
And it's so sad that there was once a version of me that was accepting everything on the other end. A version of me that thought that I had to be doing so much just to get a tiny ounce of like bare minimum, less than bare minimum treatment. And you know what's crazy too is the man that I was receiving the worst treatment from lived like 2 minutes away from me. Could not trust this man with my life. Versus now, I am currently in a long distance relationship and I've never felt more secure with a man in my life. That is the kind of shift that we are talking about. And it just breaks my heart knowing that there are so many women out there, including myself at one point, that thought that this end of the spectrum was normal, that that was all that I deserved. Because once you get the other end, you just like, not only do you feel so much gratitude for it because it was something that you have been wanting for so long, but you really just realize that people really do treat you how they view you.
Day and night she talks. Each word more useless than the next.
People treat you how they view you? Woman, nobody is viewing you right now. You said it yourself. You're in a long-distance relationship. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions, but generally speaking, long-distance relationships rarely ever work and typically end in some form of an implosion that can only be described as easily preventable if you didn't bother getting into the relationship in the first place. Now, lady, I'm going to be generous and assume that you've only been in one situationship, but that one was for 2 years, and we can already tell it scrambled what's left of your brain, which is clearly not much. And now that you're in a long-distance relationship with a man who can't touch you, can't be near you, and can't validate your insecurities, so I'm going to give it about a solid 6 months before you cave in and start cheating, or you realize that you're not worth the time and he ends up cheating. Either way, somebody's going down like a drunk virgin on prom night.
And I know the feeling of wanting to be chosen. I get it, trust me. I spent 2 years of my life trying to get someone to choose me, and you know what? So grateful that that did not work out. If someone's not choosing you, just walk away. I know it is so much easier said than done, but if someone is not actively choosing you, there is someone else that will. And it is my hope that every single woman gets to experience that, because it is the most beautiful feeling when the person you chooses you back and you make that commitment to each other. I really personally, there were many times that I did not think that it would ever happen to me, but at the same time there was that little glimmer of belief within me that believed it would happen for me, and it did. So please do not stop believing. Talk it into existence. Like, I'm literally begging you, if you are with someone that is making you feel terrible about yourself and questioning your worth, leave. There is someone out there that will make you feel so confident, so beautiful, and so worthy.
Yeah, when I look out over your sea of vacant faces, I feel like to puke.
Woman, I would agree with you about people choosing each other, but let's consider the following. Modern women demand the best men. He has to be the richest, the best looking, deal the most drugs, whatever. She chooses men out of her league and becomes completely baffled when those men don't choose her. But she will continue to wallow in the denial river, thinking that one day he will change his mind. So this begs the question, what kind of a man is dating you? I don't see Chad giving up his bachelor lifestyle to settle for you, and I don't see a rich old man wanting a woman whose primary personality trait is makeup. So this leads me to assuming that this man is either imaginary or is a massive simp. Either that or he doesn't exist and you're straight up lying to the entire internet. Now, even if that's not the case and you're in a legit relationship where you're happy, well then good for you, Dusty Eggs. Nobody freaking cares. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.